The Brothers of Liberty, here to remind you what true freedom is. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Liberty, always here to remind you what true freedom is. We got another video here. This one is discussing about the school board again and the educators and the Department of Education because it's been in the news lately. Now, I know I did one about the school board in the past, but apparently now those concerned parents are being equated to domestic terrorists now. The School Board Association of the United States sent a letter to President Biden talking about they have threats on their lives, they're being intimidated, they're being harassed, and because of curriculum or mass mandates or so forth. Well, I actually got the letter right here that the Attorney General sent out to the FBI concerning that. Now, I will admit, there are parents that go overboard. There was one parent in Arizona that threatened and pretty much ambushed the principal and threatened to zip tie him about a mask mandate. And there's been a few other arrests as well because they turn into chaos where um, if their time is up, they keep continue talking, so they um, have the police arrest them, take them out, or the fact that there are a couple where being whatever they give Nazi salutes to the school board member, showing that they are fascist dictators. Um, Now, the concerning part about this is it seems now that the government and the school board thinks they know better than the parents. Um, on September 30th, Secretary Miguel Cardona, Secretary of Education, stated that the educators should be in charge of education programming, and he did not say the primary people should be the parents. He refused to say that. I love how he specifically said the words education programming because that's the great way to say indoctrinating. Um, and a Democratic candidate running for Virginia governor said he believes parents should not tell schools what to teach. Those are our kids, not yours. And you forget that as a school board member, you are elected by the people, which means you have to do the will of the people, not the other way around. And the government also tends to forget that as well. Well, anyway, the DOJ is going to investigate threats against teachers, school board members nationwide. And the letter they actually put out, and I'm going to break it up for you with interpretations of what I see of this letter right now. Um, Office of the Attorney General, and it says for all the people addressed. The subject is partnership among federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement to address threats against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. It goes, in recent months, there's been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff who participate in the vital work of running our nation's public schools. While spirited debate among policy matters is protected under our Constitution, that protection does not extend to threats of violence or efforts to intimidate individuals based on their views. I'm glad how he brings up based on their views because the reason why we have these discussions and these debates is because the school board members are trying to put in their views into teaching, but the parents' views don't matter. Um, I'm sorry, if the majority of the parents say, no, we don't want this, the school board should agree. But instead, they're forcing their views because they think they know better than the parents. I hate to tell you this, but before 1979, education in America was doing great before the Department of Education was created by President Carter because it was local. There was no politics involved, but like everything else, politics are now getting involved. And politics should not have a place in education. Let's go on to read the second paragraph of this memo. Threats against public servants are not only illegal, they run counter to our nation's core values. Those who dedicate their time and energy to ensuring that our children receive a proper education in a safe environment deserve to be able to do their work without fear for their safety. And that one makes me laugh, especially about the receive a proper education. A proper education is teaching math, reading, writing, social studies, and science. Um, I don't see how critical race theory teaches you your ABCs. I don't see how teaching elementary school about sex is teaching you how to add 1 plus 1. This is why the United States keep falling behind in the world. Other countries don't do this, or if they do it, they wait until high school and college. The United States is trying to indoctrinate kids at a very young age so they can believe what the politicians believe. And mind you, I'm not the only one who feel this way. There's teachers that have been resigning because of it. Are you saying those teachers are wrong? Just saying. Third paragraph. The department takes these incidents seriously and is committed on using its authority and resources to discourage these threats, identify them when they occur, and prosecute them when appropriate. In the coming days, the department will announce a series of measures designed to address the rise in criminal conduct directed towards school personnel. Fourth paragraph. Coordination and partnership with local law enforcement is critical to implementing these measures for the benefit of our nation's nearly 14,000 public school districts. To this end, I am directing the FBI, working with each state's attorney, to convene meetings with federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial leaders in each federal judicial district within 30 days of the assurance of this memorandum. These meetings will facilitate the discussion of strategies for addressing threats against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff, and will open dedicated lines of communication for threat reporting, assessment, and response. The department is steadfast in its commitment to protect all people in the United States from violence, threats of violence, or other forms of intimidation and harassment. Now, here's where I'm going to tear up this memo. What kind of harassment? They are elected officials. Is it not the job of the people to email and call elected officials with concerns? I mean, anybody can interpret you calling them harassment, threats. If I'm at a school board meeting and I say, I don't like what you're teaching, so you're not going to be here next year, are you going to perceive that as a threat? Because school board members are elected. And if next year is an election year and I say you won't be here next year, that means I'm going to vote you out. Because at the end of the day, not only are the people voting these school board members in, but it's the people that are paying their salaries. And a lot of people, a lot of things will say, oh, parents don't know anything, so they should have no say in the kids' education. We know a lot more than you. We know education has nothing to do with critical race theory, sexual behavior, or anything like that. It has to do with math, reading, writing, social studies. But you don't want to teach social studies, at least not the true social studies. You want to teach a propaganda form, which, every state, every country does that to a point. But when is history, some history is omitted and others is emphasized. Not going to get into that discussion, but anything can now be perceived as a threat of harassment, especially in this day of age of woke people. Imagine a woke school board member being called up every day to say you're not going to don't vote on this, don't vote on this, and then being told, well, come November or come whatever day the election is for the school board, I'm voting you out. I could just picture them now calling the FBI. Oh, my feelings been hurt. I need a safe place. They harassed me and they threatened my job. If you were doing your job, we wouldn't have to vote you out of your job. And that's called democracy. And you want to preach about democracy, but when people say we're going to vote you out, you want to cry that your job is being threatened. Um, Now, yes, like I said, there's been some incidences, very few, where people have been arrested for true violence. But even in a editorial by a person on USA Today, which, by the way, as of July 21st, they called it used to be a center to now leaning left newspaper. Um, there is no proof that involved concerned parents are a dangerous threat to school boards. He actually goes on to say that it also stated that if Biden administration gives irate administrators an attack dog in the FBI, parents will stop participating and distrust the school even more. But that's what you want. You want parents to stop participating in the education so you can do your full blown indoctrination. Well, that's not going to happen because I'm not going to stop participating. I know a lot of other people are not going to stop participating. And you're going to label us domestic terrorists because we have a different point of view, and we're saying that this should not be in the school, especially elementary school, and that you should be teaching the basics and the core fundamentals of education. You're going to call us domestic terrorists? Who's really the domestic terrorist? The person raising up these points or the person who's trying to silence those points? Because the last time I saw in history with the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, Cuba, Venezuela, they always want to silence the opposition so no one can complain and warn other people. And this is just another step of silencing the people who are warning other people what's happening. But that's just my opinion. What about yours? You can like, share, subscribe, comment on the section below. We encourage comments. We just encourage discussion as long as they don't have no foul language or hate speech. But because we are the Brothers of Liberty, and being the older brother of Liberty, I'm always going to remind you what true freedom is.